The title of Scaling to Seven Figures caught your attention. So why am I here talking about that? Well, it takes one to know one. So it takes a crazy to know a crazy. And I've had Sculpt Wellness for 7 years now. We're entering our 7th year in Eastern Washington. But it actually started back in 2016. I live in a place called Tri-Cities, Washington, opposite side of Seattle, last to bring on a trend, farming community. And in 2016, I had been a labor and delivery nurse, very pregnant right there, with someone else's baby. I had been a labor and delivery nurse for about 12 years with a very established career, very reliable, right? Like the white picket fence. I became a single mom of 3 littles. I had been dabbling in network marketing and growing like the side hustle, and done well in that. It was a good side hustle. And it was actually about cleansing and coaching weight loss systems. So for about 5 years, I was coaching people on how to lose weight and do these detoxes and cleanse. Turns out it was just intermittent fasting that is a real thing, but we called it cleansing back then. And then I started to feel not aligned with the traditional healthcare system. Even though it was this great career, reliable job, it looked good on paper, I just didn't feel aligned with what was happening in corporate wellness, or healthcare, even though I was in labor and delivery. That corporate feel was really trickling into the hospital I worked at. And I was crazy and said, you know what, I don't think that this is for me. And my entire family thought I was crazy, and I went all in on the network marketing and selling detox and weight loss. Through my divorce, I needed something more reliable for hours, and so I thought this is gonna be perfect. I'm gonna do a little bit of side Medi-Spa nurse injector. And it turns out that that was a really good fit. I really fell in love with the beauty side of the aesthetics, but in 2016, I also noticed that it seemed like only people with the really high disposable income were coming into these Medi-Spas, but they all still felt the same. They just wanted to feel better. Even though they were coming in to look better, they wanted to feel better. That really struck a chord with me. I was talking to all these clients coming into the Medi-Spa about these detox teas and cleansing and these red lights I had learned about in my travels in the network marketing. And because I was so excited about all that stuff, I got fired. And I'd never been fired in my life, and it was the best thing that's ever happened to me, because this is part of how you will learn how to scale. If someone is not aligned in your business, you need to let them go. And I have learned that the hard way, but that's whenever I have to let someone go because they're just not aligned, I think of that story. Because what was happening was I kept talking about these red lights. I had been to Tennessee and I was speaking for the network marketing company, but I had discovered these red lights there. And I'm like, why have I never heard about this? Like, I'm a nurse, I know about nutrition, I'm the master of coaching people through weight loss, but I've never heard about this red light and how the fact that they can actually sculpt your body too. And I became obsessed with them, to the point that when I got fired, my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, he was so tired. He also was about ready to fire me. He was like, would you shut up about these lights? He's like, this is all I have. Here's $10,000. Just do it. Go start your own business, bring them to the Tri-Cities, and let's start a business. And I was like, yes. That sounds like an awesome idea. I have no business experience. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never had an employee. I hated, I was burnt out in the hospital, but let's go start a business. And so we did. And so I saw these red lights as a way to actually talk to people about so much more than just the aesthetics. See, I wasn't really aligned with the Medi-Spa. I didn't like that kind of like that you had to be the who's who to have access to things besides traditional healthcare. And I'm like, there's no middle. No one is talking about the middle. We all want to look good because we want to feel good. And I've coached people that really, truly are doing everything right. They're following every macro, they're working out harder than me, and they still aren't losing the weight. Or there's people that are working out the best and they still have the trouble areas. And so I saw red lights then as a way to talk about actually weight loss, because in order for body sculpting red light to work, you have to put in the exercise, drink your water, and eat well. And so I saw this vision for wellness with red lights back then. So we were Sculpt weight loss. I had no money because the $10,000 Chad gave me, the used light machine was $9,994. So we bootstrapped, classic credit card, everything, had no money for marketing, didn't know how to do traditional marketing. All I knew was network marketing, which is word of mouth, person to person. But I did have a local company. It actually was not Groupon, but it's just like Groupon, where it doesn't cost you money up front. What you sell, they take a percentage of, just like that. And what we sold was coupons for $49. You got 4 body sculpting sessions worth $800. And so these people would come in. What they didn't know, though, the trade-off for them getting such a good deal is they had to sit with me. So they would come in with their $49 coupon. And this is another thing the story is important, because this is what truly along the way has always been the key to our scaling. Is I believe that listening to your clients is easy to do and not to do, and you should allow yourself to ask for that accountability from your clients. It is okay to sell weight loss to your clients and say, you don't get this though unless you sit and talk to me. And I think that that's in the race to be the next and jump on the next trend that gets missed, and it's easy to do, and I've learned it, and I've failed forward through that too, and we've had to come back to that because you get excited, you're growing, more and more clients, more is better, and that doing it that way, in order to convert someone from a $49 LipoLite coupon, I was converting them to $2,400 to $3,600 packages. I've probably never been more profitable than that first year, when all I had was a used light machine, an intro special, and converting them to high ticket. But it started with that hour conversation. So of course they don't all convert. You know what they're gonna say, I wanna try it first. But that really did grow us, that concept did grow us to where we were today. I always had the vision for a wellness and memberships. I didn't like selling them the 12 sessions and never seeing them again, because we did their check-ins, we got to know their story, we knew who their cat's name, we knew how they were gonna go home and mow the lawn, all those things. And so where we are today, that was 2016, we have over 35 services. So definitely above and beyond the red lights, and we have 3 divisions: medical, aesthetics, and 2 locations, thank you. And we've hit multiple 7 figures in revenue. So, and we really do have it all, and a Rhonda. But that first year of just having that weight loss, or the LipoLites, really was so critical for teaching me how to do one thing and do it over and over and over again, and listen and measure, and listen and measure, and look at the outcomes. Not your number outcomes alone, your client outcomes too. Collect that data, collect those stories. That is how you scale, and what will grow and set you apart from this massive explosion we're gonna have over the next 10 to 20 years of this wellness industry. That I am so honored to be speaking to each and every one of you, because you are trailblazing. What we are doing is the new healthcare, and it's coming. And so what I had to do if we go back, the last logo was just Sculpt Wellness. So in 2018, 2019, I worked really, really hard to actually drop the name Sculpt Weight Loss. And I spent tens of thousands, brand new website. I spent probably $60,000 in 2018-19 to get rid of the name Sculpt Weight Loss. Because what I saw was, as we grew and brought on cryotherapy and vitamin drips and all of that, it was misleading. I was like, we're so much more because we have all this thing. So we need to get rid of just the name weight loss. And I worked on that, tried, and it worked. We became Sculpt Wellness. We were attracting men and women. It was awesome. And then I got quarantined in Cabo, and I was 40 pounds overweight and miserable. And here I owned a wellness center. And I had prepped for bikini competitions. I had cryotherapy and all these things at my disposal, and I couldn't lose the weight. And when Rhonda started talking about this new peptide that she had heard about, that nobody else was talking about yet, I had to look at my ego, because I remember I was nervous to bring it on, because I didn't want to admit that I was gonna have to go back and talk about weight loss again. But we did, because what our core value is that we always listen to our clients. That's actually one of our brand promises. It's one of our core values. And so we said, okay, let's do it. And then this is really important too, because if you can learn who your top spenders are, you can launch a new program with your internal clients. So that's really kind of how our first 3 months, we essentially only told our internal wellness members that we liked and trusted too, And we used them as our cohort. And over that next year, we didn't spend a penny of marketing on weight loss. We only did it internally. Of course, when someone loses 30 pounds in 4 months, their friends are gonna find out. But of the 470 people that we had on a $149 unlimited cryotherapy wellness 13 services membership, we converted them to $450 memberships. 262 of them became weight loss clients at $450 a month that led to almost exactly $1 million. And that was our first year, 2021, of 7 figures. And then though, and I remember wanting to hit 7 figures. I remember wanting to hit over 40,000 a month. And I kept thinking, that's when I'll make it. That's when I make it. And then I hit the 50,000 a month. I thought, okay, once I hit 60,000, I won't lose sleep over payroll. Once I hit 80,000, I won't lose sleep over payroll. And what I realized when I hit 7 figures is you really are crazy, because the problems are actually worse if you're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So now I've learned, so in 2022, I realized here I had hit the big goal. I had come to every CryoCon, I've been here since the beginning. I can't even go in the tech room because I already own it all. Because I used to think that more would get us there. And isn't it funny that going back to the beginning, not equipment, sorry vendors, I've taken care of you, I own it all, but it was never buying more things and doing more and more clients that got us there. A lot of those 262 people, believe it or not, came in from that like Groupon. About 100 of them back in 2016. And so scaling, actually what I learned though, is it's very scary to think you've hit the big dream and wake up and realize you still can't make payroll. Nobody wants to scale that way. And I don't know if I'm alone in that. Has anyone finally hit like a revenue you can't wait and you're like, but where's the money? Okay, thank you, because I'm very vulnerable about that because I don't think it's talked about enough, to the point that I ended up in 2022 investing over 6 figures into figuring out, no one could tell me in a wellness center, but like, how do I track KPIs? Like, how do I even know what that is? And so I put this in here that like, even when you hit a problem, and so everything doesn't have to be great, because scaling is you're climbing, right? So you can be in a big hole, or you can be on this beautiful mountain on a great hike, but you still have to do the same actions. But what I realized was I had been setting targets and I would naturally hit them, but I couldn't tell you how I got there. And if I want to scale and open multiple locations, who am I to go to say to someone, you can do it too, by my licensing fee? And I knew that I couldn't do that. So the last 18 months, I have painfully torn everything apart and realized that it was the word of mouth, our membership's evolution, and now paid marketing. We're using Patient Engine to do paid marketing to grow outside of the organic with our second location. But our KPIs, when I learned how to tie them to what are our core values, we want results for our clients. We believe health is ownership on our part and the clients too, and we're not afraid to hold them accountable and ourselves accountable for that, for measuring and discipline. And so we hold our clients accountable. And then it was like this light bulb went off and I realized that you can tie those core values of why you're in wellness and you're trying to help people, you can tie those to your numbers KPIs. So this is a number that changed my life. Like I said, I have never like helped anyone else open a business and help them hit the same numbers, but I actually learned it from Brandon Dawson that Sage just got bought out, sold 10x to. Revenue per employee, $250,000 annually for each employee. You should not hire, you should not bring on another service, you should not do anything else until you're hitting $250,000 annually per employee. Even supportive staff. And I'll be around the rest of the weekend as well too to talk about that. But I could tell you right now, I could look at your membership and I would tell you exactly the price I would set it at. And it changed a lot for me. So then we also measure revenue per client. And our brand promise and our core values is we want to take care of you. We want to be with you on the journey. Our logo is a journey. So we shouldn't be burning and turning clients and doing all these intro specials and more. What we need to do is once we get that client in the door, we need to take care of them. And what that looks like is your revenue per client is higher and growing each year. It should grow each year because you should be maintaining your clients. You shouldn't need more clients every year. And then, how many of you ever struggle with your employees coming to you and saying, I'd like a raise. I know it's not time for my yearly, but I need more money. And if you pay me more, I'll do more. Has anyone ever heard that? Okay. This changed everything for me because that used to be how I ran it. It was like when they came to me, I would, I guess I don't know, when's the last time I gave you a raise? I was so unorganized that way. Now we have a very clear system. Our pay scale evaluations and employee peer reviews are all based and tied to our core values in a way that we measure it tied back to revenue per employee, revenue per client, and our retention rates. And my team knows exactly the revenue we're gonna hit in the next 12 months. And they know exactly what that looks like per client. They know why. Because I had a team full of people that had never sold before and were, just wanted to help people, so they felt weird selling and they struggled with selling. And I realized that once I taught them that when I'm asking you to sell more, it actually means I'm asking you to take care of that person. And there was a big shift. We did a team workshop around that. And so I got very vulnerable about the numbers, and my team even knows that they are responsible themselves to help produce $250,000 worth of revenue. And actually getting super vulnerable with my team changed a lot. And so that's, if anybody wants help, because I remember coming to CryoCon and asking other people about KPIs and they didn't know. And just remember, if you keep hitting new levels and you still feel like, holy shit, I still don't know what I'm doing and I still feel alone, you've scaled. Thank you.